Hey everyone, are we live? We're live. Oh boy, let's bring it up the Star Wars celebration. Dave Filoni is live. So I was a guest on the Echo Base Network, and then this happened. Hold on, let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. Okay, I'm
The
sharing it
Clone Wars
now.
way more in depth than it had been
Ooh,
done, and he wanted to be involved with the scripts and the process, and that's where it kind of all began right there.
Kelly, stop,
Working with
please.
him and learning the craft of making a Star Wars.
That's awesome. My takeaway from that, yes,
Ooh, I'm excited.
my takeaway though is you finish building the Plo Koon costume in your garage after
Did
that.
finish it, and I got the job on Clone Wars, and I
I
did
didn't even make a
finish the
thumbnail.
costume, and I wore it to San Diego Comic-Con with another director of Clone Wars who later came on, Giancarlo
I have to
Volpe,
make a thumbnail and
who I
everything.
had made him a Kit Fisto costume. And somewhere out there are people that actually have photos standing with me and Giancarlo as Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. In fact, I met one of them.
I'm
A friend of
very
mine, John
excited
Foster, who's in
about what I've
501st,
heard so
and
far
he found
today.
a picture of him with me in costume before he
Let
knew
me turn the
who I
volume
was.
down a
And
little bit.
oddly, this is a strange story. I was at the
I'm
Comic-Con
very
with Plo
happy
Koon,
with
talking to Ayla
that
Sakura,
they
of
announced
course,
Thrawn's
and
casting.
she is
That's
talking to me
amazing.
and says,
I
I hear
didn't
they're
think we
making
were
a
going
new
to get
Clone
that.
Wars series. I hope the people know what they're doing, who are doing it. And I said, yeah, well, I think they're going to do their best. He had no idea.
You did do your best.
Plo Koon was being supportive Jedi Master.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
Star Wars.
Now, Athena, tell me how you joined this Clone Wars party.
That was an interesting one. I was actually working on Strange Magic at the time, and yay, Strange Magic! And
Oh, this is day one.
so
Hold on.
I was in a room with 3 other coworkers, and Filoni. I remember Filoni walking in and saying, "Are you the one with the Jedi 96 license plate?" I said, "Yes." He's like, "What does the 96 stand for?" I said, "Oh, that's when I started working at Lucasfilm as an
You think we're
intern.
going to get it? Is anyone's there?
So,
Please
and he
remember
goes,
to
"Oh,
comment
okay,
in the
so you
chat
like
so I could
Star
see
Wars?
you.
Well, why are you working on a show about fairies? You should be working on Star Wars with me. You should be working with me. We got to make that happen." I'm like, "Yes, please make that happen." And I think it was January of
I hope we get
2007
something.
is when I came on board to the show. And then literally in July, he asked me to move to Singapore to set up Clone Wars at Lucasfilm Animation Singapore. And for, I think it was an undetermined amount of time. So I packed like crazy. I don't know, I packed like I was leaving forever. But I was there for about 6 months. And then Filoni said, "Okay, want you back at the ranch. You got to come back now." And I was like, "Okay."
I'm making a thumbnail
we
now.
get things done over there, and you get things done. I mean,
Thank you.
Can I be very clear? There is no Clone Wars without Athena. It's just not going to happen. It never would have happened. We had a lot of neat story ideas, but if you don't have somebody to know how to move the ball down the field, and she does, she makes it all work. And whatever idea I have, you've always come through, and you still. Bad Batch is a great show because
I need to watch Bad Batch.
You get me all emotional now. Now I need the tissues.
We have tissues if you need them. That can happen. That can happen. I love that you had a fairy tale going from fairies to Star Wars, like to the galaxy far, far
By the way,
away.
then we could put them in Star Wars anyway because you know about them. So let's do that too. So it's like it's all.
It all
But
works
I wanted
out.
somebody that loved Star Wars at the producer's helm, and that was Athena. We had to have her on the show.
Thank you so much, Filoni. You know how I feel about you. I love you so much. You're amazing.
I told you there would be feelings. Matthew, hi.
Hello.
Hey, tell us.
Oh my gosh. I know these pictures. What happened to my hair?
It's still beautiful. You got great hair, Matthew. Tell us about your beginnings on Clone Wars.
Yeah, so the start of that was, let's see, we had just finished Revenge of the Sith. And
This
we were getting
should
towards
be
the
the
end of it.
last panel of the day that
I
we could
remember-
see.
George, and at the time there was a producer named Rick McCallum that worked on the prequels, and they took me into Rick's office, and they were saying, you know, we were all kind of very high off finishing Revenge of the Sith, and I could see a large weight sort of lifted off George, and he was very happy to be, you know, done with the prequels. And I got this call to come in to their office that said, we're going to do this animated series. And George was like, I'm only going to do six to 8 episodes I'm going to work on. You should just work on 6 to 8 episodes, and then we're going to hand it off to other people, and they're going to do it. But I don't want it. You don't have to like agree to anything, but we'll just.
I haven't rewatched the Clone
And I
Wars
said,
in a while either.
Of course I'll do that. You know, yes. And they were very like, don't worry, we're not going to lock you into anything. Like I would.
If
feel
you
that way,
watched
but
The Last
never,
Mando
because
Slipper,
I
you would
love
think
working on
people
Star
would boo
Wars,
at Cowboy Dave in that fruitcake
So
episode.
later on, I was
But
in my office.
it's not all his
working with,
fault,
David
Dennis.
Acord, who's there,
It's
my boss
not.
right there, the co-sound designer and supervisor of the show, and he's great.
Why would I boo this
Okay.
man? He's done so much to bring joy
And I
to
got
everybody.
This little knock at my
I wouldn't
door,
boo him at all.
and in comes this gentleman right here, and he was like, "Hey guys, I've got this sequence."
That me? That's young me.
That's you.
Okay,
That's
cool.
Young David.
Sound guy.
Young Dave comes in. He's like, I've got this sequence we're working on. I think you either had it on tape or you had it on a disc, or there was something that he had. And I felt like he was sneaking it over to us, because we were all on Skywalker Ranch, but they were in a different building. And he's like, we got this sequence, and there's, you know, and he started showing us some storyboards and things of the cliff sequence in that episode. And I was wondering if I could get your sound effects in there, if you could help me out. And I was like, yeah. And then that's kind of how it was born. And I always love that, like, George himself was like, I'm only going to do 8 episodes, and you only have to do 8. Cut to, like, you know, years later, we've done 100 episodes, and because everyone just loved it so much, and we loved it, and it was such a tight knit crew. And
All right.
Watching him, because I'd worked with him on the prequels and Young Indy and all these movies.
Oh, Lions!
And watching how happy he was, George, working on every single episode with you and the crew. And he was just a kid in a candy store having fun with the show. And we all
Don't be worried, Lions Planet.
And I and Juan
Don't be
Peralta,
worried.
That was the core sound team, and it was just a couple of different offices, and we did the entire show ourselves.
This is Clone Wars. You like Clone Wars, don't you, Lions Planet? Clone Wars is great.
And my career from what had happened on the prequels, wonderful opportunities, and nothing but happy memories. And
Yeah, that's the thing. You're the battle droids.
that's right.
You're
Yeah,
every single battle droid. We've blasted.
Yeah, all the droids in the show are fun. I
Say
remember
you're
that one.
famous.
Which one is it?
You know what it
Oh,
is.
what? Roger.
There it is.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the
I
one
loved
that did
it.
that.
I mean,
Okay.
He was just in Mandalorian last week, so I was very happy to be Battle Droids back. But yes, that was my experience as the start on that, and I'm so happy to be here and talk about it.
Nice. Well, I think we're all excited. I mean, look at the size of this crowd. Clearly, it wasn't just 6 to 8 episodes for a reason. Killian.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so glad you're here.
Very loud.
Tell us what were you? Where did you? What were you doing when you got brought on to Clone Wars? What was the?
Well, if you're looking for someone to blame, it would be Henry Gilroy, because Henry was the head writer on season 1 of Clone Wars, and I'd known Henry for a long time because I had worked in comics. So I had done a different sort of. I'd actually worked on some Star Wars comics. I worked on Shadows of the Empire for Dark Horse. And I knew Henry, and Henry had said, oh, there might be maybe some work on this Clone Wars thing, because there was a small art team in place. And I thought, well, this is much like Dave. This will be a fun story if this turns into anything at all. It's probably going to be like 2 months' work, and I might get to do, you know, a battle droid's shoe or something. I'm not going to get to do anything major. And then
If
Dave
you're
and I
just
met-
getting here, remember to thumbs up
I
the
know
video,
we're celebrating
please.
15 years of the show actually airing, but we met 18 years ago because it was 3 years before anything was shown to the public that we started. It's a long time ago. And yeah, so we met in a food court, I think in Sherman Oaks or somewhere. It was not very glamorous. It was not very cool. And then we went to KB Toys, and So a cheap Star
We
Wars
did,
size,
yeah.
you know.
That's what you did back then, when there was KB Toys.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. And it was,
I
it was
loved
very much
KB
the sort of thing
toys.
where I thought, well, this would be fun, but I guess it's only going to last for a little bit, and I'll do that and see what happened. And then I ended up being on the entire run, all the way from the very first episode to Vader lighting up Ahsoka's lightsabers. It was crazy. Yeah.
I like how you all thought, like, oh, this is just going to be we'll just do this for, like, we're just going to do it. And we'll have a few things.
I'm
It'll be
gonna tag
great,
some
what a
people on
memory.
Twitter.
And here we are.
There's
this
nothing
mi-
like it at the time. Like there was the micro series, which was fantastic, but there wasn't anything on the scale that George wanted to do. And like just on Killian, it's like I needed somebody that understood the intricacies of all the design. You know, Roger Christensen and everyone had done Ralph McQuarrie in Star Wars, and so there are people that know when Vader's helmet is different, or his costume is different, or his lightsaber is different, and what those choices are. And you don't have time to explain it to everybody. And so you look at Killian's drawings and he understands all that. In fact, he'll debate you on it. And we would have all these debates. And a guy that worked for us named Gary Shepke, they got in a big debate with me about Wedge Antilles' helmet because I knew it was green on the front and they were saying it was gray. And so we arranged a trip to the archive building on the ranch,
just
which
so casually.
you're
like,
only
let's go
supposed to
check.
do for research, but we acted like it was going to be doing for research. And we went down there. Remember this?
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
got
But the thing
helmet
is,
out.
we always had very intense research. It was like every week we'd find
Right. We wanted, but we
something
were
very
I didn't know that
important.
they were
sometimes
gonna
researching, but
put
this
this
time
on
it was
air.
over a wager. And we wanted to see this helmet. So we got the helmet out and then they looked away and I was like, yes, it's green. And then we acted like very professional. But that's how I got to see Plo Koon.
Yeah,
and we had to see
yeah,
all
and we
this.
actually turned it into an award for whenever someone referenced something from the movie.
Green
got
Helmet
it
Award.
wrong. It was the green helmet. It was like, yeah, you've done it again.
Because a
That's
lot
the
of
green
things on
helmet.
film look a different color than they actually are. You know, when you see it in person, and that was like it's like the AT-AT driver. It's a completely different color armor than what we all grew up with, as we found out. But I still like the white helmet, to be honest with you. But still, very, very, very light gray is also cool. So
Which you learned on one of your research trips.
Mhm.
no, because they don't have one. That
Oh.
they found the AT-AT driver helmet was recovered several years ago, but I don't know if we have one at Lucasfilm, to be honest with you. I have one though, but
Well, I
it's
was
not
going to
real.
say, yeah.
It's not official, but it's pretty darn close.
Of course it is. Of
I'm
course.
just saying.
Of course. Of course. So Athena, you know, you said you had to go back. He called you back to work at the ranch, and that was something unique about the show. You worked at Skywalker and at Big Rock, like day in and day out. What was that environment like, and just being so close to collaborate all the time?
I wonder what they could
So
announce.
what's interesting is after the 4 years in licensing, I was exposed to visual effects at ILM, and I told myself
they
that I
finished
wanted to do
everything,
visual effects for a bit,
really.
but with the intention of always coming back to Lucasfilm, primarily
I want to
because
try
of
to
its
see
culture, because of everybody I had an opportunity to work with.
what was
It's
announced so
a family
far.
unit. It's everyone cares about each other truly. Everyone's honest with each other. It's just it was an amazing feeling that you don't really necessarily get anywhere else. So I went away for a little bit to learn visual effects, and I did come back, and I'm staying here as long as Filoni keeps me, and trust me. I don't want to go to any other company, and I just love what we built at Lucasfilm Animation, and it is still this way. And it's just amazing that even
We
through the 2 years of
also-
the pandemic, we were still able to have that family unit, even if
We
were
also
working from afar.
learned about the
And
40th anniversary
it's just great.
of
It's very
Return of the
unique. It's
Jedi.
very
It's going to
hard
be in
to
theaters.
explain, but every
I'm thinking
Friday
about
we
going.
have
Thinking about
deliverables,
going.
and we will call them Broadway Fridays at Big Rock.
Although
where we
that's
would
going to be
crank up the music
when.
and listen to Broadway tunes
Ooh,
up until like midnight or 1 a.m.
that's going to
however
be
long
when
it took for us to finish
Snyder
all of
Con
our
is, I
deadlines
think.
for that evening, and it would be that kind of environment. So it was just a lot of fun. And we had something called Nerd of the Week that Gary Shepke put together. Apparently I won 3 times, which I was like, oh yeah,
Just 3.
just 3. Yeah, actually, we did have a contest as well for Nerd of the Year. We had an event called Pushanika. One of our artists was named Pushan, and we would just have, you know, holiday parties. Filoni would dress up as Santa Claus, and he would, you know, share production samples with us that we had. It's just is special.
Yeah, I had access to a bunch of Star Wars merchandise because there would be overflow, and I would
What are you talking about,
collect it all
Dennis?
year.
I
And I
don't.
would store it.
They
in a
didn't even
big
talk
closet.
about Obi-Wan
And
being
then
that
at
way.
Christmas,
I don't know what you're
it was the
talking
only
about.
day that we opened up our doors to everybody and
Where's
their families.
show?
in the big,
Where
the
did they say
potluck.
that?
And I would then just raffle it all off to the crew because I'm like, if the people making this stuff aren't getting it for free, who should? Like, so I wanted the crew to have the results of all of their effort, and we give away a bicycle and action figures and anything we get our hands on. Lego
I
sets.
think it's just because you had run out of space in your office for
They
any
wrote a
more
book.
stuff.
Okay.
So
You always have this particular point of view, don't you, down there? Yeah, maybe a little bit true.
I don't
would keep
care
the
even if they
platoon
did. Like,
stuff,
I don't know. Whatever.
to be honest. Yeah, there's the group. Look at
I was gonna
that.
say, is this at Big Rock?
That is Big Rock Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it like? I mean, you worked, you know, George did not also just work on it for 6 to 8 episodes. He was very closely involved for a while. And Killian, what was your experience with that, with working with George and
working with George was, well, it was kind of like an out of body experience sometimes, because you would be sitting there going, "That's George Lucas, and he's saying to do
Ooh,
stuff."
Senior Nerd, you're
you
seeing
know?
Mario Brothers.
But it was really it was
Yeah, Senior Nerd.
it was very much like you
I
say.
think we
George
are.
knew exactly what he wanted to do at all times.
You want to pop
That's the thing
on?
that struck me was that
I'll put the link in for channel
he is,
members if you want to
know,
pop
he
in.
Seems very easygoing and laid back, and he is until he's working. And then
You want to pop in for a
he's
few
just on,
minutes?
and the decision making was so fast and so precise. It was just very cool to see. I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing at all times, and you just had to execute.
no pressure?
No, it's fine.
It's fine. It all worked out. We're all here.
Yeah.
Good job.
My favorite were the full color days when we knew that Filoni, or when George would come for
I
full
heard it's
color,
like
that's when we
breaking
review
records
lighting
worldwide.
up
The
to
best
point that we
animated
had it
debut
before
ever.
final. And if it was a George day, we would all get there like at least an hour in advance just to make sure, because sometimes he would come extra early and we wanted to make sure that he wasn't waiting for anybody. We just respect him so much. And even if he came early, it's not like he asked us like, can we start now? He really like would take his time, and we would find him like reading the newspaper, you know, like in the hallway, and then we'd say, "Oh, George is here, everybody." And then we're like, "We got to go into the screening room and start the full color," you know. But we're just always being prepared. And we always believed in, you know, first one in, last one out when it comes to production. If your, you know, supervisors are coming in and you're part of production, you got to get there before they do, have everything situated, and then you're the last ones out, like after your supervisors have left. It's always been that kind of, you know, mentality, even to this day.
That's how we got the show done. See what I mean?
Yeah, animation
been
moves on a pretty aggressive
tight.
schedule.
Oh, there's some-
It seems like.
There's some
Fantastic,
interviews
yeah.
that Collider has that
He
I
was
want
an early
to
riser,
react to
George.
after this.
It was hard to beat him in.
I'm trying to
He would
find.
stay late. He's a hard worker. That's something you learned. And he's not afraid to experiment, move things in the cut editorially. He would sit with us all day.
I want to
We'd be in
see
the
the clip
editorial
where
room,
they
working on the
announce
story, rewriting the lines, like anything. It was amazing, and I think it
Lars
instilled in all of
Mikkelsen.
us a really good work ethic and drive. That's Jason Tucker up there leaning on the rail. He was our editor, head editor for all of the Clone Wars, and just he's the only person I ever saw go cinematically with movie knowledge right toe to toe with George. He knew everything George was talking about, and another big reason why the show was so amazing was Jason right there, because he was a live action editor, and so he spoke George's language, and that made all the difference early on, because the way we shot Clone Wars was completely different than anything animated at the time. You hear a lot of talk about virtual production now in live action films, but George had us doing virtual production in 2005, which means that if you saw, you know,
Yeah, I want to find the clip where they. Callie, shush, shush.
taught us to
Find the
stage
clip
it
where
like
they
we're
announced
in a big
Lars.
stage, a sound stage, and move all the pawns and the figures, and you know, simply animate them and get the camera coverage down, and how you would cover camera angles, and then you would roll the cameras, so you could put like 30 cameras in the scene and roll it. Normally you'd have storyboard panels, which are static images, pose to pose to pose. This gave you flow, it gave you movement, and it gave the editor a whole bunch of coverage to cut with as you would cut live action footage. And Jason knew how to do that. And the way George taught us that, it is the only reason that I later was able to make the leap into live action, because I realized that's exactly what George had taught me. So when I got on set with John and Greg
I'm
Fraser
having trouble
at the
finding
time,
it.
to do
It's not.
Mandalorian,
Oh, wait.
I was like,
Here we
this is
go.
just previs, but with real people. And so, you know, it was a really kinetic moment for me, because
I found a
campaigned
clip.
the
I
other
found a
way,
clip.
and George went to animation and I went to live action, but that's all thanks to George, really.
Now, Matthew, I want to go back to your battle droids.
Yeah.
The
By the
most-
way, that battle droid earlier, amazing. I don't know where you are, but
It was
great
so
work.
good. Funniest characters in Clone Wars, I think. The battle droids, just the one-liners.
yes.
So you got to, you're like, "No, absolutely, yes, they were my lines. I love it.
He comes up with some of that stuff too. He just
That-
puts it in.
The advantage to doing, because normally when you do voice acting, it's, you know, you do it, and a year later you see it and it's done. But I had the opportunity of working in post-production as well, so I could see how the lines actually fit into the show as they are. And luckily for me, the battle droids do not have a moving part when they move, you know, talk. So at one point I would squirrel some lines in there that I thought were funny, and I was, you know, I was kind of testing the waters with Dave, and he was like, okay, you can leave those in there when you play it back for me, and if I laugh at them, keep them in there.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay. So I didn't go over. I mean, sometimes we went overboard, and those are on the cutting room floor.
Yes.
but I just loved that idea that we could play like that, and there was a lot of funny moments of just, you know, I guess it's almost improv in a way, which you don't really get to do with animation.
I don't know, Dennis. She's
yeah, that show.
she's interviewing them, I
had
think.
so many moments for the whole crew, just feeling completely inspired by all the different jobs we got to do, and it was just three of us, and then coming through Clone Wars. A lot of the people that have come up through the ranks, if you say that you worked on Clone Wars at Lucasfilm, it's very much like, or at Skywalker Sound, it's very much like you've been through it. You know how to do a show. You can do it efficiently, and you're close knit with the director. So obviously you're easy to work with. And I'm so proud of all the people that have come through Clone Wars and made it into live action.
CJH, get on
and
here.
onto
It's
really
just
big
me.
careers. We have a lot of folks that have come through there. And
You
it's
could
a
come
real
in. We're
badge
just
of honor
talking. This
to
is
work-
the
to
end.
have
This is
worked
the
on the
last
show,
panel of the day.
in so many different ways.
CJH.
So that's another good
So-
memory about that. Yeah.
If you get on here, I'll
Warm
multi-stream
and
it on your
fuzzy
channel.
feelings all over. And you know,
I
we
won't
talked
let
about
anyone.
behind the
I
scenes
won't
world,
let
but of
controversial
course,
people on, so
the
you don't
show-
get nervous.
we love these characters. Part of the reason we love these characters so much is because of the people who give them voices, the talented voice actors.
Doesn't matter. Get on here.
I think we should bring some of them out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right, please, welcome to the stage.
Oh, she's wearing the
Dee
Jar Jar
Bradley
shirt.
Baker.
Oh shoot! Hold on. The music. Oh, we got to do the music. Ahsoka Tano. Uh-oh. The music will get you. I don't know if I was quick enough. But Turkey. All right. I know. I've seen them before. I know that's Ahsoka. I don't know who he plays. I'll have to. Oh my God, the music's gonna get me. I should put my own music on. Let me put some brand StreamYard music on. Okay. All right, let's see.
Clone Wars. I had darkened hair.
Oh my gosh, look.
Look at
Wow.
that.
There's
There's
my
my
child.
Look up,
She's
look
now
up.
a grown old person as I am.
I love that part of this panel is just like scrapbook time, and we're like, oh, look at that. Remember when? So all of you went on quite the journey with the show, with your characters.
Hey, Jeffrey.
And Dee, I'd love to start with you and really, I mean, look what you've done for the clones, sir. Like, just can you take us back to the beginning and getting that brief? Like you're playing everyone.
I didn't know.
It's amazing to look back and to think of just the kind of blue sky expectation and just not knowing what this was or where it was going to go, having no idea, and here we are, how it's fulfilled and found so many different stories, and it's so incredible. It just really knocks me out.
Yeah, the stories have gone on and on. It's been really awesome. And Ashley.
Fan favorite, Ahsoka Tano, the first Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ashley, yeah. Ashley goes, boom, yeah.
Y'all, I don't know if they have any fun together. I can't tell. I don't know. Ashley, Ahsoka, so many of us have connected with her, and it started with your work. And we met Ahsoka, such a different character than where she, we all know, right? Ahsoka, well, she was Snips, and I'm going to cry because I love
very, very snippy, wasn't she?
She really was.
Yeah.
She really was. Take us back to your origins with Clone Wars.
Oh my goodness. And Dave, I don't even know if you remember this. Maybe you do. But in the beginning, you wanted Ahsoka to have an Icelandic accent.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know.
What?
I couldn't do it.
Really?
And so somehow I managed to get a call back. And you told me to practice my Icelandic accent.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did, and I found like the top dialect coach in all of LA, and I studied and studied and studied. And I thought, as I say this in a room full of people, many of whom probably have really good Icelandic accents, and I thought I mastered it. So I so proudly go to the callback, and I say my first line in Icelandic, and you tell me, you're like, no, can you make it sound more Icelandic? And I was like baffled. And I did something I normally would never do. And I raised my hand and I was like, I'm sorry, I am doing Icelandic. I don't know what you want.
Kelly, stop.
That can happen. Yeah. Yeah, well, I heard it and then it's like, nah.
Kelly,
But
get over here.
I mean, look, there's no other way to say it. I liked your voice. That was the better one. So why do Icelandic?
Well, thank you. I was shocked when I found out I got the part. And I was like, do they want me to do Icelandic? And
It's all a clever directing ploy to see what. No, I don't know. I guess I thought I knew what Icelandic was, and it's not that I think you did it poorly. You just beat it with yourself. I mean, it's wonderful. Like I've always said, it just sounded right to me, and that was the character. You know it when you hear it. There you were.
Thank you. Well, I just remember. Thank you. I remember showing up the first day of work, and they were like, no. Dave was like, just be you, be yourself, use your own voice, bring your own personality to the character. And so it took about, I feel like 6 months, until we really found her. But I will be forever grateful that you allowed me to just create this character with you. Thank you.
Super cool.
See, we're gonna need the tissues. Is what's. I feel like this is where this is headed. Everybody's just like, remember when we all love each other? We do. Matt, tell me about
The chosen one.
You hope
tell
they
me about
announce
your
new
process
Clone Wars
in
stories or
getting
movies?
To be Sky Guy, Anakin.
Oh, he's Anakin.
Yeah, when I
didn't realize.
when I went into audition, it was Dave.
Oh,
was in
I
the
get it
booth.
now. Okay.
Catherine Window was in there. I went in and it was a big secret. They told me it was a character, Deke Starkiller. So I tried to do my research and I didn't find much. So I went in there and I remember Dave just saying, do whatever, here's a scene, do whatever you think Luke and Han kind of sound like together. And I remember the scene was with R2 and I did it. And that was kind of it. And I think I went home and within a couple of days I got a call that, oh, you got a job. And oh, by the way, it's for Anakin Skywalker. And oh, by the way, he's one of the leads on the series. So it was pretty quickly then up at Skywalker Ranch. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I was actually recast. We had an Anakin previously that had done a couple episodes, I think.
He was Icelandic.
Yeah.
The original.
And it just didn't
Seemed
sound
like a
right
good
to me.
idea at the time.
So yeah, quickly I was up at the ranch.
Hold on, I gotta.
chatting
I'll
with
be right
George and
back.
Up there with Dave, just kind of walking me through this Anakin and how this Anakin was going to be a little, different, I guess, a little more heroic, a little more bravado. We kind of got a chance to develop the character and show him as this hero that we heard about, but we didn't really get to see the transition from, Attack to Sith was so quick. And I'm just honored that we to be a part of fleshing out this character even more and really made him into a hero. That way you guys care about him and we care about him. So when he falls, yeah. So when he falls, it's so sad and it's so much more tragic because it's a guy you don't want to fall. So yeah.
I certainly didn't want him to.
Oh.
You're my brother.
No, you know what? I told James that when he says that line in that voice, it makes me have feelings, and you did it.
That's why I did it.
You used it against me.
Makes me have feelings too.
Here,
I
wait.
hate you.
You are my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Oh, it's awesome. That's awesome.
For you, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure anyone who knows me knows I really love Clone Wars. It is my Star Wars. So being up here and the tissues are gonna need to happen. Thank you for that, James. And James, I mean Obi-Wan, Plo Koon. Oh, I'm sorry. Really quickly though, let's all appreciate this picture, because
Oh yeah.
oh man, what a time capsule that one is.
That was
It's a very wrinkled
Celebration-
shirt.
That was Star Wars Celebration 4. Joel Aaron took those photos.
Joel.
Aw.
Yeah, Joel, very important person for our show. The
Immensely.
render, the king, the wizard of photography and lighting.
And fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
And fire,
Um,
snow, whatever we needed. Joel.
Okay, back on track. Sorry, I got distracted. I had to. James, tell us about coming to the show and finding this Obi-Wan.
Right. Well, my journey with Obi-Wan began actually 20 years ago for the micro series of the Clone Wars. So I don't know if you guys know that.
I'm paying
But
bills
back
too.
then, I always joked it took longer to park my car at Cartoon Network and walk than it did to record the lines, because it was always like, that was Anakin. 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 Okay, James, we're done. And that was it. How many ways could you say Anakin, And so then they
Obi-Wan
brought me
does
in
a
for
great
the
job.
Revenge of the Sith video game. And it was when we were doing the scenes. David Collins, tremendous voice actor and director and talented composer, was directing us in the game. And he said, I've got this scene I got to show you. And it was like strapped to his wrist with a handcuff, this green screen or blue screen stuff of Ewan McGregor doing the scene. And they said, can you match this? Because it was the game had to match it. And it was at that point that they kind of went, okay, I think we got, because I was able to find those. He's got that wonderful texture, to his voice when he, come to your senses. What would Padme do if she was in your position? He's got that way of doing those things, right? He's over in the other space. Okay, bigger, better Obi-Wan over there. But you can, no, come on, I'm kidding. Thank you. That's very good. But so it was just it was a great honor, and it is a great honor. And then getting to meet Dave and get to work, and Henry Gilroy and all of them. It came in, and so I was.
I'd
very
like,
blessed to be able to be a part of all of it. And then
I'd like some more Clone Wars
just one of my
games or
absolute
something.
Favorite characters too. Dave said one word. He said Gandalf, and we thought, oh yes, Gandalf, yes. So you see that actually it's Matthew Wood is part of Plo Koon as well, because I do it like this: Ahsoka, little Ahsoka, yes, Gotoria.
Anthony,
And then he takes it.
I've gone the Star Wars franchise because the sequel series, so I'm wondering how your predictions besides the movie announcement, what other shows and movies happened in the new Jedi
the second season,
Order saga. I have
and
no
I was
idea,
listening, and I'm
Anthony.
just a mimic.
I'm happy you're getting what you want.
And so I
It
heard
seems
flow
like they're
lower.
covering all the
Endless loop
bases.
of
That's
going
good.
low, because you kept doing it as low as we'd make it lower, then you do it lower, and then when do I stop processing this? We're going to be down like humpback whales are going to start beaching themselves.
I don't know how to follow that. I don't know. Y'all are trouble is what I know. D, and something I always loved anytime I've talked to you all is hearing about, you recorded together, and that does not always happen. And D, what was your experience over the years recording with, because now I'm wondering how you got anything done.
It was the last half an hour of a 4-hour session is where we got things done.
we had a lot of fun together, and it was such an enjoyable experience to read through the entire play of the story of an episode, which is how we used to record it. We essentially, you take it scene by scene, and you'll redo the scene a couple of times before you get all the details right before you move on. But you're essentially reading the entire story.
CJH, I'm trying to find out who that original Clone Wars voice actor was that Matt Lantier just
and of course,
mentioned.
now things are recorded piecemeal since COVID and with the way technology is. But what an ensemble! What an amazing group! Even for characters that weren't there all the time. With Ian, who was there, and a lot of other really interesting guest stars. But to do it in studio was really very special, and wonderful experience.
Yeah, I think I can imagine you getting the job done, of course, but that you all had, it was a bonding thing, and I'm sure it only strengthened your performances and the relationships between all of your characters.
Yeah.
Oh no! What were you gonna say?
Oh, you got to tell this. I know where you're going, right? You got to tell the story about
What?
when you first met. When you guys met.
Oh my gosh! Well, Dave, I don't know if you remember this.
Oh no!
So
it could be any number of things, and I'm worried about it.
No, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. But for the first 6 months before Matt was cast, you kept telling me, just so you know, fans are gonna wonder if there's something going on between Ahsoka and Anakin, and there's nothing going on there. And so
Sky Guy.
when Matt came in, it was his first day.
My
of
worry's
recording.
increasing.
What?
My worry's increasing. You've done nothing to stop my worry. Continue. Let's see where this goes.
So Matt comes in, and I'm like, we say hi, nice to meet you.
I'm not sure if you said hi, nice to meet you.
Oh.
I think you might have just said, Ahsoka and Anakin are nothing. They're very platonic. They're just friends. Nothing's going to happen.
I was like, just so you know, there's nothing going on
I had to
here.
block I got 6
And then
viewers,
I
and I had to block a
think I
troll.
said, okay, I'm Matt.
Well, you had to set you did record straight just from the beginning.
Yeah. But we all are very much like our characters. I mean, truly, Matt and I are truly like Sky Guy and Snips. And Dee and James, I mean, they were just veterans in the voiceover world. And so, if I go up to Dee and, say, so if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right?
Well, in my book, experience outranks everything.
That's it. I'm done. Bye.
So we're all really close because Matt and I learned a lot from Dee and James and everyone else on the cast.
We pay them to say that.
Well, and I do want to point out, of course, we have some key members of cast who aren't here in London, and including, of course, Kat Tabor's Padme and Tom
Yes.
Kane's Yoda.
Yes.
It just, again, what a treat to see more of those
Ooh.
characters and to have richer stories and to see more of Padme and Anakin. What was it like developing, their relationship, working with Kat?
Yeah, I mean, that was
I
a lot of
watched
fun. One
this
of my
series
favorites was
all,
with
since
Clovis.
the
There's
beginning.
a Clovis out there today.
I have the
by the
Blu-ray
way,
box sets.
which was really great. The photo op was really fantastic because. But yeah. Kat's amazing. Always has been, and yeah, it was a pleasure for sure.
Nice. And I also really want to remember, and I would love a round of applause for Ian Abercrombie, our wonderful, wonderful emperor. I mean,
Oh, my
not
goodness.
usually, but he is a wonderful
Man.
emperor.
It was worth it in the lobby. Every time we were waiting to get into the
Oh.
studio, Ian would be out there and he would be telling us stories. Remember, he always had colorful socks. And he would tell his stories, and he would say those were his Seinfeld socks. I don't know if you all know him from Seinfeld, as Mr. Pitt. And he loved acting, he loved performing, and he loved being a part of all this. He was just such a joy to be around.
And
It's really interesting to be around somebody who's so good that it just becomes effortless what they do, and it's almost frightening to see this gentle, sweet man suddenly switch into Palpatine. It was a remarkable thing to see an actor of that caliber do his thing. Really, really wonderful.
One of my favorite things about him was that he would always wonder how evil to go. And he would have read the whole script and be very prepared. And then I would be there early and sit down with him and we would go over it all. And for me,
Or Scipio
George
never
really
watched
insisted
Clone
that
Wars or
a lot of times there's
Rebels.
a voice director
The
that's
animation
different
style
than
got on my
directing the
nerves.
animation, but
Um,
George insisted that I be the person
Rebels
directing
is
the
better
actors. He wanted me to learn
animation.
that skill.
Clone
George
Wars,
insisted
some
that the
stuff
thing
looks
was done
good, some
ensemble, so
stuff
I would
looks a
learn to
little
deal with
off,
multiple
but it's
people at
the
one
stories
time.
are great.
And you can see it is something to deal with these multiple people.
It's worth it to me.
And it's like throwing super balls in a room with a bunch of cats. But you learn certain skills, but definitely from
Oh, thanks, Stark
you know,
Omancer.
Ian.
Yeah, I just
you
went in
know,
there for
he
fun.
was, like you said, so veteran. I think he really took my interest in directing and fostered it and was teaching me better ways to communicate with actors, which is a key skill. And every actor needs kind of a different method of input. But in all honesty, on Clone Wars, I was very spoiled because you guys are all so talented. I learned so much from getting to direct you. I felt I only needed to guide you through the galaxy, and you would all heroically get there. And just to be clear, I mean, for everybody up here, it's hard for me because I fully recognize everything I'm doing now at Lucasfilm and Star Wars. It's based on the bedrock of so many people, and these are just some of them. And I so appreciate all of you and your skills and talents. And I take you with me on every project I'm ever on. You're so meaningful to me, and I'm so grateful for your hard work and what you've given to Star Wars and myself. So thank you guys so much.
Well, we wouldn't be here without Dave Filoni. We wouldn't have Lucasfilm Animation without Dave Filoni. So we thank you for everything. You're going to get me all emo now, and I'm going to not get emo, but thank you for everything.
Yes.
That was nice. That was nice.
You know, just to.
I don't know how you cannot like Dave
cheer
Filoni.
things
I'm
up a
sorry.
little, Dave. I'd love to go back to the recording room with all of you, and I don't, it's been a minute. We're talking 15 years, but I am going to ask you to dig back and share some of your favorite moments, either in the recording room or even since. I know you all do a lot of conventions together, and it's like we still get Clone Wars in a way, and I love it.
Yeah, like Matt was asked that earlier on the live stage, like what was it like getting back into the skin of Anakin or Obi-Wan? And as Matt said, I'm taking your answer.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
because we're family. We really are. And we still see each other all the time, which is fantastic. And there's always been, Lego projects or games or other things that we've been able to be involved. So we've never really left the characters, and they're
Turn
always
the
with
closed
us. And I
caption
think
off.
that's the beautiful part about it. And so we still get to do the fun voices every once in a while and say hello there.
Yeah, it's it's something that I feel like I never put down. Anakin's a part of me. We've been doing it now for 17 years ago, I think, when we started, and so I had Star Wars on my wedding. These guys were at my wedding. Like, it's a part of me, and I don't think that I'll ever feel like I'm not a part of Star Wars anymore. And a lot of that also is because of you guys and the acceptance and the love that you've given us into the Star Wars universe. And
I'm on a stream.
Thank you for that.
And something I'd love to know, Killian and Matt, is if as the years went on and you worked with them closely, how did their work bringing those characters to life inform each of your roles with the art and the sound going forward? And Killian, let's start with you.
Well, I do know that when it came to season 7 of Clone Wars, and we knew that we were going to finally sort of make Bad Batch.
Wow, what the heck, man?
Just after hearing, yeah. Boom. I think after sort of hearing D for so long, I actually sort of thought we should change the Bad Batch faces to look more like it, because originally the designs for each member of Bad Batch were quite pushed, and Hunter looked, remarkably different to Crosshair, and there was a point where they began to not really resemble Rex anymore, and I felt that there should be some of Rex in every Bad Batch member's face. It's because Dee's voice is so much that character now that I just heard his voice all the time whenever I was looking at any member of Bad Batch, and thought we should capture a little bit more of what Rex is. And I think it works really well. I think you sort of believe that they are unique, but they're still part of, the sort of Django DNA. And I think
Hayden.
For me now, I just
Hayden's
sort of hear Dee's
trending.
voice.
They are different,
anytime.
but they are similar.
That's awesome. How about you, Matt?
Gosh, I think when we got to the scene where the confrontation between Ahsoka and Anakin, and the cracked mask scene, which was so pivotal, that was always just such a moment where the culmination of everything was happening at once. We had this beautiful design of the shots. We're all in widescreen. It's got a full orchestral score going on, and world-class voice actors going, and all that. And it felt like these arcs that we were doing were like miniature movies, and we treated them as such. And to come from something that we had to, at the beginning, there was, how many years went by that we couldn't even talk about that it existed? It was so long. Yeah, it was like 3 years of just not even being able to talk about what we were working on. And we got to this.
It took 3 years before the first Clone Wars
making these miniature movies with a world-class cast, and it was just such an incredible place to be, and to be here now, to think about that now, and all these people here that love it, and we came from the small little thing at Skywalker Ranch. It's such a beautiful moment to be here up on stage with everybody. But yeah, that definitely informed the sound, and
I want
how
to
we
find
went
the
forward,
Ahsoka panel.
and to contribute to this thing that's 50% of the experience is sound, is what George likes to say. And Kevin Kiner's music, which we have to mention that. Incredible work by Kevin, and he just kept bringing it every week, and the themes that he kicked in there, and he's so enthusiastic for the show, such an amazing part of the show, that everything just clicked that way. And it was every week was like working on miniature movies. I mean, they were movies. I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah, and it's.
Ooh, I have some stuff to watch after this.
Star Wars thing that George Lucas worked so directly on.
Hey, Keely.
And you
remember to thumbs up the video. I have some other stuff to watch after this.
But
that happened. It did.
George, he created it. So yeah,
that's cool.
That was cool.
Brad.
I'm glad they had
Remember
a lot
when
of
we
good
did
thoughts
that?
about that.
George is the best.
Remember when we did that, right? It was cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, it was all right.
He still gives me notes.
And never ends.
No, he's good. He's good.
You know, and I would like to talk about we're here today for Clone Wars and we have all these memories and it's still
I don't
has
know.
left such a legacy.
This isn't the
behind,
end though. This
the
is just
show
day 2.
has
Or-
informed, quite a bit of what you're doing in live action, and that's also wild.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
can you
Of
talk
course.
about
Of
you
course.
know,
Yeah. I mean, I like these characters. So I've been, with them in my mind. I see them all the time. I'm working on the story all the time. And they're just my favorite. I mean, it's weird in Star Wars to say your favorite characters are ones you've been a part of creating, but they are. And, as I learned from George, I wanted to get into some new challenges and do different things once I had the opportunity.
I guess we're
to,
full in on
finish
the
Clone
Filoni
Wars, which,
verse.
thanks to Carrie Beck, I really got to do that. So you all got to thank her. She produces
Carrie
Rebels
Beck.
with us along with Athena, and it was her idea for us to go back and do a final series. That last season of Clone Wars really benefited actually from my experience working with Jon Favreau on Mandalorian season 1, because I finally, like I said in the beginning, was able to put all the math and teachings together that George had taught me into the real practical sets and how it worked. So when I went to do the final season, especially the last 4 episodes on Mandalore, I understood what the job was to do there. And it had always been, my dream to interweave it with Revenge of the Sith, and to be delicate about, you never want to influence or change anything in those movies, but to use them as a place to show you where in time these characters actually were, which was so vital. And by doing that, link the two, so you understood these characters always were there. And yeah, it's probably my favorite thing that we ever got to do. And I love that ending series, and just to work with you guys again. So I mean, and as that goes, and of course I've done other stuff with it now in live action, and and it's beautiful, and I'm excited about what we're doing. But I kept watching Bad Batch because I'm still involved with that, and Brad and Jen do a great job with Bad Batch.
I still have to
and
watch Bad. I
now
haven't watched any
teach
of it.
them like George taught me, and so I understand how difficult I must have been. And George is very patient with me now. I understand that, but they've done a wonderful job, and they've made a wonderful show, and I love it, and it looks amazing. I'm like, well, I wish season 1 of Clone Wars looked like this. So, but
Love when they
it
mention
was
George.
a long
Always
time
so
ago.
respectful. Yeah.
A long time ago, evidently, according to you. And but it made me think, wow, I would like to play with that animation that we're doing now. And so on the airplane, when I would travel back and forth to do the shoot on Mandalorian, I would write short stories that were like little fables that I thought, well, this would be cool. This will explain why she's capable of battling off all these clones when other Jedi weren't able to. And that would make sense to me, because I could understand where people are like, how could she battle all of that off and Plo Koon couldn't? Because of course Plo Koon could have done it.
What?
If he wasn't in that fighter, he would have been fine. But
Well, I think
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
if Obi-Wan can cut Darth Maul in half and he can survive, Plo Koon can survive Order 66.
I've made that case. I've made that case to George. I've made that case to him directly and got a no. But anyway, so I started writing these little stories, and I especially liked one after I wrote that one, Practice Makes Perfect. I wrote the story about Ahsoka and her mom, and that was particularly kind of special to me. And so, of course, I showed it to you and Carrie Beck, and Carrie says what she always does. She says, "Would you like to make these?" And I'm like, Last time I did it, I ended up having to make a whole animated season. Yes. And then she disappears, and she comes back, and she finds the money with you, and then we had to make a whole season of Tales of the Jedi. And apart from them just being
Tales
fun
of the
little,
Jedi.
fables that I just wanted to, I was always curious about Dooku, so I wrote what I thought was my version of things and kept it simple. I'll be honest, like I really just wanted to hang out with everyone, so I made sure these characters were involved, so we would get to be in a session because my life is so scheduled now, but it made you all have to show up. And that was awesome. Even though like Obi-Wan was only in the one for a short time, I made sure you were in there because I wanted to see how you were doing. And we made an animation, right?
Can I don't know if you remember this. Dave.
Uh-oh. You start everything off that way.
It always goes great though. It's
This,
fine. It's
this is
fine.
my
Very
theme of
twisty.
the panel. But I just want to say, seriously, in the beginning, the number one question the fans would ask me is, how is Ahsoka going to die? Because
Oh.
she has to die before episode 3. And you always told me that, well, no, actually, no, you didn't. This is why I'm wondering if you remember. But I would always say, well, does she have to die? And you would always tell me theories of how Ahsoka would die. And I remember, seriously, I kid you not, it's like after the first season.
Pretty funny.
And it's after the first season, and he's like, hey, come here. So let me tell you, I came up with the storyline of how Ahsoka dies.
Oh,
And he tells me.
they
and I'm
changed
like,
that.
Time it was Darth Vader because that one was really cool.
well,
Yeah.
Not,
I mean, you
there
gotta
was
admit that would have been gripping television.
Yes.
Do you
He was
remember
originally
actually
gonna.
at one
Ooh.
time-
No, I don't know this one.
It was.
Probably not worth sharing.
It was. Well, I can share it because it didn't happen, but it was.
Is that true?
It was Ventress. At
Oh,
one
Ventress,
point,
that's a good one
you
too.
had
yeah.
Ventress.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes.
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 You had
Very
Ventress
good.
killing
Very good,
Ahsoka.
Padawan. Yes.
And I had to deal with this, the emotional turmoil of hearing.
But it really
like,
got you someplace in the scene. It really got you there.
well, you did, but
He
at
changed
some
his
point,
mind.
the tide turned, and no one asked me how Ahsoka was going to die. They all said, "Ahsoka lives, right? Ahsoka lives, right?"
Yeah, people started to get worried.
They did. They started.
That
to
was
get worried.
interesting.
And then at some point, you stopped sharing theories of how Ahsoka died, and I was like, "Yes, Dave is going to make her live."
And then he started talking about Satine.
Well, that one didn't work
She
out
overdosed
so well.
on a death stick in front of Vader. It was
That was a
awkward.
surprise that day.
James, it was never going to work out. I hate to tell you.
In my head, it
Not like
did,
you
though.
wanted it to.
I would have shaved my beard.
He sounds really good.
In my head, Obi-Wan and Satine are living so many happily ever afters in my head, but it's not Star happily ever after. Star Wars. So I accept it. I don't like it. Yeah. You do that a lot.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
One
I
day
look
you're-
back at it and I'm like, what was wrong with us?
That doesn't matter. One day you're rolling in flowers on Naboo. The next day,
You just
anything
never
can
know.
happen.
Next
You
day.
got a little possessive, Matt. That's not a good thing. That's an attachment.
Oh boy. Oh
You let
boy.
your fear overcome you.
Attachments are for Jedi.
Well, look at that second.
I'm no Jedi.
Oh. Well,
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh boy.
it's all going downhill.
I do. I have a bad feeling too because I have to be the one who gets us out of here.
Yeah, because
so,
we're over
Oh,
time.
this is where the fun
No,
We're
begins.
over time.
No.
Wait. What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, I actually could do this all
They
day.
can do this all day.
Yeah,
Trust me. I've seen it.
I'm on board.
This is
but
how we
there-
went over budget a couple times. That's her.
But you two, you as well. You
Gotta
do have
give
something you
something.
can share.
I do.
Ooh.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
you don't get to do that, but
well,
Ooh. Okay.
Tales of the Jedi was so fun the first time. I decided to do some more.
Oh!
But there are more. Yes, there are more. So that'll be fun, and because what's become apparent to me is like there's a very important thing the Jedi have to do. It's they have to pass on what they've learned, and so though I've gotten progressively busy in other aspects, I do take time to teach all of my younglings and Padawans animation So I'm using the Tales of the Jedi, and I'm telling some stories, and I'm giving some people there an opportunity to step up and direct, step up and write, step up and.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it there just for this announcement. Tales of the Jedi is coming. I don't know if I watch Tales. I didn't watch Tales of the Jedi. Is it out? Holy shirt. I'm slipping on the animated stuff. We are going to get more Tales of the Jedi, which is a great thing. And he is fostering more creatives working under him to continue the series. That's a cool announcement. Star Wars animation is doing great.
Try to learn the ways of the Force, as George taught me, as now I hopefully will teach them.
Yeah,
So
I'm Team
Lucasfilm
Filoni.
Animation will be strong for years and years to come, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yes, because we want to keep getting more stories. We want to keep having 15th anniversaries of shows we love. So please give it up for our incredible.
Yeah, so that was the announcement at the end that we're getting more animation. And honestly, the way Star Wars is being built up now from Mandalorian to Ahsoka, this is a great way. I think they should introduce characters and animation a lot of times first, see if they get a following, and then introduce them in live action. I think it really helps. I think these are stronger characters for it. You know?
Panelists, thank you all for coming. Thank you all. And I hope you have an amazing rest of celebration. Thank you.
Is that it? That's Dave Filoni. Okay, is that it? Is that the end? Okay, is that the it? Hold on. Uh-oh. What's happening now? I don't know. I think that's it.
Saga, the Jedi.
Oh, my. The Jedi Survivor stuff's tomorrow. I think I will exit. I will exit her because there's other stuff we can react to. First, I want to react to this really short clip. It is of the Thrawn, the announcement with Lars Mikkelsen. I only found like a 12-second clip, and I just want to see it. I can't believe they made it official who's playing him right now. I didn't think that was going to happen. So let me bring that up. It's just a small clip. I'll have to pause to be transformative. This is from the Ahsoka panel, I guess. Here we go. All right. There he is walking on stage. I hope he says something. Is that it? There we go. There he's shaking hands with Favreau Filoni. That's it. Oh my God. That's it. All right. All right. Let me bring it back a little bit. There we go. I mean, that's all I could say about it. It's official. We don't get to see that part because we're not paying customers to Celebration, unfortunately. But it's official that Lars Mikkelsen is now Thrawn. And we might get some good scenes with him in Ahsoka. Ahsoka is one of my most anticipated projects this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right. I could bring up this video now where they interview some actors. We could go through that before I end the stream. Let me bring that up here. I found this on comicbook.com. It's 25 minutes, so we could go through that, and then I'll end the stream. Because I think this is the best quality you're going to get is interviews like this, because we're not going to see behind the scenes panel. Oh, shit. All right, hold on. So this is from comicbook.com. Dave Filoni. Rise of a New Sith. Okay. This is apparently taking right after the Ahsoka panel. All right, so let's take a look at this.
The beginning of Thrawn and kind of your introduction to him, which is the same as ours, which is Timothy Zahn's work.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about what you find in Timothy Zahn's work with Thrawn that you really enjoy, that you want to continue to emulate with Thrawn?
That's a good question. I want to hear that. What he's going to do to emulate Thrawn from the Timothy Zahn books
in live action.
The interesting thing about it is, I have a very, very, very strong memory of walking past the bookstore and seeing the standee for Heir to the Empire.
Yes, I think a lot of us share that. That's great.
And that blew my mind. And my brother and I would stare at the standee and look at it, and you look at the cover and the painting, and you were like, there's more. Because back then there wasn't a lot more. Like, there were comic books that delved into certain, but Star Wars hadn't really had the
EU and all the Zahn books kept Star Wars alive for so many years. That and Mark Hamill, but before the prequels came out, I remember the dark times before the prequels came out.
the wide expanded universe. Say, like, if you went to a different section of the bookstore, the Star Trek books, they had already a lot of books about Star Trek. And Star Wars didn't really have that. We had like novelizations, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, but there wasn't a lot. So that really changed things. And so my brother and I poured through that book. And the genius of Thrawn is that he's not Darth Vader. He doesn't even try to be.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be different.
He doesn't have the Force. He has, creatures that repel the Force or react to it, but he's smart. He's calculating. He's like a Moriarty. He's gonna outthink you, and
that's gonna be really cool to see. And like, he is gonna, he doesn't have the Force. He relies on his wit. He's aggressive. He's really gonna mess with his opponents. It's gonna be intense. I'm really excited to see how that goes down. It's almost, I don't want to say like, I'm a DC fan. I don't want to say like Lex trying to take down Superman, but it's kind of he's always a step ahead of everyone. Yeah. All right. Let me get back to this here.
Chess move use. So those are the things that I really liked. My brother and I both, enjoyed military history and films like Patton. And I felt that, like, oh man, Patton as a Star Wars film would be just incredible. So to have a character that's a Grand Admiral is just outstanding, because something I love are, my uncle Tony, he fought in the Pacific Theater and would, every now and then tell us a story about it. Just amazing, like the Battle of Midway, Battle of Leyte Gulf, these massive conflicts that happen with people out at sea, and we would relate that to Star Wars because of the Star Destroyers and the Rebel cruisers. And so, I think that the opening of Revenge of the Sith is so compelling because you're seeing this big space battle. But the promise of Thrawn to me is this military genius that can...
I think Thrawn is what, besides the Knights of the Old Republic, Thrawn is like the most asked thing for Star Wars fans. The only thing that could be bigger is Knights of the Old Republic, I think, with those characters. With Revan and things like that. I'm so happy that we're gonna be getting it. And I can't imagine. I mean, there's other actors that could play Thrawn, but we're getting a good one.
Outthink and outdo the New Republic with very limited resources. And so it's so exciting to think of the possibilities. If we can find them wherever I sent them, who knows?
Oh.
That took a long time for Ahsoka to figure out. It took a longer time for me to figure out. So
he made that plot point before he knew how to resolve it. Okay.
It was tricky. You sit there and go, why did I do that?
Well, okay. That's not going to help the detractors of Filoni that he he lost Thrawn and Ezra without having any clue to how to get them back. That goes into the creative process. I'll just do this and figure it out later. I lost Thrawn and Ezra. Okay. Lost Thrawn and Ezra. And he didn't know how to get it back. You know, that's kind of funny. All right.
It seemed like a good idea at the time. It's just like a moment in Star Wars, and you know, fans used to yell, "Where's Ezra?" And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, legitimately, I don't.
Does that make you feel better? Does that make you feel better about the creatives? Like, I don't know. They don't always have a big plan. He writes as he goes. Earlier on the Clone Wars panel, he was saying that he was going to kill off Ahsoka. You know, Dark Omancer. I think the movie on the twins and their story from the Steel Eternal Empire would also be a big win for a dying Star Wars. There's lots of things that could be done. All right.
No. So, you know,
that was my next question. Is, you know, we got characters like Sabine coming in, and you know, this whole the timeline of this all, what it's following. I mean, where are you on Where is Ezra? Anything we can expect on?
Oh, I know where he is.
Okay, finally. He figured out where Ezra is. Okay. Oh, he knows where it is now. All right.
Yeah, but getting there is the problem. I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we're going to do that. Budget alone, it's really tricky. So I don't know, you know, what we're going to do there, but he's exiled for sure in a far off place. But no, it's fun. There was a moment where it turned, and I did realize, and I remember I was at one of these conventions and a fan finally yelled that out, and I said, you know what, I know. And then everyone, because I never answered that way, it changed the answer. Yeah. So, but knowing is one thing, you know, getting there is another thing. There's lots of places we know of, but we never visited in life. So we'll see.
I'm very interested to see where how they get Ezra on that journey. Very interested.
What happens?
The last thing I want to ask you is about it is where you're going, because you are, you know, you got your hands in multiple shows.
All right. I want to hear this too. This is going to be a good question. Where are we going now, Dave? Where are we going now? I want to know this too. Big setup. All right, let's hear this.
On Disney Plus, a lot of stuff kind of happening around the same time, and now a film happening around the same time in the timeline.
Yes. He knows. We're gonna go. It's all gonna lead up to an epic film. I think this is this the first one we're gonna get? You know,
is this kind of leading to like the Dave Filoni Avengers Endgame in the Star Wars world? Is all this stuff going to start to come together and culminate?
Filoni verse Endgame
in a big way. Can you talk about?
I don't think of it that way. I mean, I think,
but it is. I don't think of it that way, but it kind of is.
This is astonishing. I just watched that film again the other day, and it's such an accomplishment, and it's built over so many years. I mean, it's when you work in this kind of theater of a galaxy or what Marvel does cinematically, it is astonishing, and you stare and wonder at what they were able to accomplish. John and I have our own little theater that we've been playing in, but Star Wars is a big galaxy. I think there's a lot of possibilities, but we do things our own way. I think of, you know, A New Hope is an important moment in the timeline. The Death Star blows up. That changes everything. To me, the film, the cinematic moment for this time period has to be a moment that's changing things, and we understand it as the audience, and then it can ripple down if we have other shows going on underneath that. So if there was a show taking place in the New Hope time period that you were watching as a kid, you would understand that things had changed in the show because the Death Star blew up, but they didn't necessarily need to be there. So there's a ton of possibilities for how to tell these stories in a unique way for Star Wars as well.
Rosario, welcome back to Star Wars Celebration. I cannot wait to see Ahsoka.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Not much. What did I miss?
Oh, well, they're going to do more Tales of the Jedi. That was the announcement.
That's good.
They announced that the casting of Thrawn, and now this is, we can't see the actual panel, but this is right. Comicbook.com interviewed the cast of Ahsoka right after. This is the Rosario Dawson part. So I want to see what she has to say, and I really want to see them interview Thrawn because there's very little about him that's not behind closed doors. All right, so let's. Oh, she's so beautiful. Not to just comment on her appearance only. She's a great person. Be honest. Would you recognize him without his hat? Absolutely, Cyrus. Absolutely. Yes. Tone down the thirst, Murdoch. Tone down the thirst. There's a lot more to Rosario than just the appearance, but yeah, she's great.
Trailer, extra footage we just saw at the panel, incredible. And in the trailer, there's a line.
She's very happy to play
Ahsoka
Ahsoka
says,
too.
that things are different now. And that's to Sabine, and that's an important relationship.
Yeah.
Can I hear whatever you can say about how are things different now?
How are things different? Okay.
Do we find Ahsoka and some of those relationships when this show picks up?
I mean, what we're getting from that is, there's been a long idea that maybe Grand Admiral Thrawn is dead. And, and that the threat is over and that we've moved on in success, and that really the only hardship really is the fact that we had to lose Ezra in the process. But, I think that's what we get a lot in this trailer. And when she's talking with Mama Thra, that there's been whisperings, that there's been, this idea and this continuation, not only from Rebels, but from like Andor and all of these other places that we need to stay vigilant. There's still a threat that's out there. And I feel finally glad that we can say it out loud because people have been asking and I'm like, I'm looking for this character, but now we've seen him realize.
Do you see what we might get though, Brian? We might get the Mandalorians, the Rebels crew in Ahsoka, and the Andor crew all have to deal with Thrawn. Is that possible?
But it's not a movie, so it's not going to work, right, Max?
What? It is going to be a movie.
All right.
Yeah. It's all
no,
right.
I think it's going to be good, man.
Rosario Dawson has a great personality. Yes, she does.
On the trailer that he is very much alive and well.
I think she's my favorite Jedi over Luke.
The threat is very real, and
Possibility.
we need to come back together again to deal with it. So
I have to see
that's
Ahsoka series first.
I feel like that's not saying anything. I feel like that was the best sort of question that got asked that I actually could kind of answer, unlike many of the other questions I got.
Compliments to the chef and thank you so much for that great answer. And also, I mean, you mentioned during the panel that you listened to fans after you got to make your live action debut. There were a couple changes. I'd love to hear, what were some of your favorite things?
What's the changes? I want to know what the changes are.
You heard, some of the things you got to, say, hey, let's do this because this is what they want, or this is something they don't want, or something like that.
I think one of the things.
Okay.
Because I was definitely referring to as the Montrals. Yeah. We kept adjusting them episode to episode, and from Mandalorian to Boba Fett, and and honestly, literally, the technology didn't exist, and that didn't. It was always top of mind for us, and I call them the Mengineers. Like they were really intense about it and wanting to get it right. And so I'm literally wearing a 3D printed skull cap with I could hear it like bones in my ears as I put it on because it's like the skin that's on, and you could hear them and the movement of them, and there's just it was designed specifically for our show. It's never existed before. So I think that's one detail I can share, but there's a lot of other stuff for sure.
And I assume as soon as you put them on, it's just I'm her. This is me.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to put on before I feel like that, but yeah.
Well, Lars.
Here we go. Cool. Thrawn confirmed. I didn't think they were going to confirm this, Brian. I didn't think they were going to. I thought they were going to have a stand-in, and they weren't going to say anything else more about Thrawn this whole weekend. But the Thrawn interview here, let's hear what he has to say. Okay.
Welcome to Star Wars Celebration.
He had to go he had to do Spider-Man. I'm not Thrawn. I don't know anything. He was lying, I think. I think he was lying to the press.
Ahsoka.
That actor lying?
Finally, no, it is you who is going to be bringing Thrawn to life again, this time in live action. When did you find out that this was your role to keep? And did you ever think they might give that to somebody else?
Well, I think it's occurred 1.5 years ago that I sort of got the call.
Oh, so he knew a while ago when he was being asked. Confirmed. He knew.
So I've been I've known it for quite a while now. I mean, it's such a relief that I can actually tell people now. It's because everybody's
they made him lie. They made him, because I remember there was a. I hope Lars doesn't get canceled for playing a blue character. Yeah, well, until we make first contact with them, we don't know if they actually exist. So then, if they do exist, then he'll get canceled. In retrospect, yeah.
asking me, is it?
I'm not taking a nap. I'll see you guys later.
I've just been lying and lying.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Brian.
I don't like lying.
Did you ever slip to like a family member or a friend and be like, "Oops, oh wait, I'm not doing."
I mean, my family knew. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, props to them for keeping the secret too.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, when we meet Thrawn in live action, this version of the
I want to know how much Thrawn we're going to get in Ahsoka. I really, I'm guessing we're not going to get much, but maybe we will. He's going to be right there with Ezra when they find Ezra.
Character that you've embodied in animation for a long time. Where do we meet him? What are some of the differences in the character this time around, if any?
It's hard to get into that without getting into the storytelling, because of course some time has expired between Rebels and where we get into the story here. So, and that time, what happened in that time has put his mark on him. But in general, he's still the same bloke, mate. You're in for what you hope for.
Can't wait to see. I mean, that bloke.
You're in for what you hope for from Thrawn himself. You're going to get what you expect. He's going to meet expectations. Okay.
Have the Force. He's not a Jedi. He's not a superhero of any kind. But he has the brain. He has all of that. In that regard, how does he stack up against characters like Ahsoka and Sabine and all these other people we're going to see him possibly antagonize in the live-action series?
I think, his superpower is his mind, really, and always being like 7 paces ahead of everybody. Yeah. And in that sense, also ahead of you as an audience, I think. So that's what you expect.
Are you wearing red contacts to bring the eyes to life, or is that done later?
Yeah.
Can you see through
red contacts? Okay.
That is it. Does the costume make anything harder or make anything easier when you're performing this role versus recording the voice?
I think it's everything worked. I mean, and they're very quick to adapt to if it doesn't. But the contacts are very sort of I hadn't made. I do use contacts, so I have full vision on those. And then I think some of it is CGI'd after, because you can only make the center red, actually.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. And so my last question is, I mean, I know that Dave Filoni has been kind of masterminding a lot of the different Disney Plus shows set in this part of the timeline of Star Wars world. He's going on to make a movie, and I'm
here we go. Here we go. Are you gonna be a centerpiece in the movie? I think we all kind of think that the Thrawn is gonna be in Dave Filoni's movie. I think we all kind of feel that. Okay. He's not going to be able to say, yeah.
Maybe, like, I don't know, this could be like a Thanos type of thing where Thrawn is just, collecting Infinity Stones along the way and taking people down and pretending to be a really big...
Look at that. Confirmed. Look at that. Confirmed. He's I'm not like a Thanos level character. Look at that smile. Yeah, he knows. He doesn't even have to say anything.
Bad as he has been. Does that sort of thing interest you? Do you have hopes and dreams of what you want to see Thrawn do and how he could possibly
look.
be a culminating role in this part of the Star Wars saga?
I'll leave my hopes in David's very capable hands.
Hello.
Oh, that's all we get. Okay. Wow. All right. That was cool. Sabine. She is beautiful. Wow. All right. Let's this is cool to get all the interviews. All right, let's see what she has to say. I think she looked really cool in the trailer with her multicolored hair.
Star Wars Celebration with Ahsoka coming up, and you're so close to all of us seeing your work as Sabine. I would love to hear, when we meet your portrayal of the character, her relationships. Who's her best friend and who's her biggest enemy?
Ahsoka.
My best friend's my Loth cat.
Oh, the Loth cat. Good answer. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, Darko Mancer.
And my worst enemy is getting in my own way.
Okay.
And what about on set? Who's your best friend?
On set?
I won't ask about worst enemy, but I'll ask best
Rosario, I think. Rosario's I heard Rosario's really cool on set.
friend on set.
That's so hard, honestly. I mean, I was just with Ro the most. Yeah.
I saw
Bro,
some pretty cool
Rosario.
action sequences in this trailer, and I know you're getting involved in them. How long does it take to get, the choreography down, the training, the wielding, all that down, and what is the most challenging element of that?
It took a very long time. It took months and months, and I'm so glad we had the time, because it would have sucked to come in late and then try to rush to be at the level that I wanted to be at. So it took a long time, and I think that the hardest part was probably just doing it justice, because you just don't want it to not be anything but awesome. So reaching that level physically takes its time.
Looks good so far. You think if you guys go into season 2, you get to take some of that training off because it's going to stick with you, or is that something you're going to have to do each season?
If we get season 2, I'm training from now.
Season 2. Oh man. Yes.
The minute that they announce it, I'll be back in that dojang.
I'm not trying to bash on the sequel trilogy crew, but this cast is just fire. This cast is just fire.
But okay, and last thing I want to ask is kind of a character question. I know you did your research on the animation, the previous places we've seen this character. Bo-Katan on The Mandalorian just got the Darksaber.
Yes, her and Bo-Katan. There's the crossover. Oh, I'm not even highlighting that Dark Romancer. Oh my god. Yeah. Bo-Katan. Are you gonna interact with Bo-Katan, Sabine? I think that's coming too.
If Sabine were to meet Bo now and see that she's wielding the Darksaber.
Oh, she knows. Did you see that smirk? Did you see the smirk? She knows. Yeah, they are.
Who has held that weapon before? What would the thought process be there? What would be the first reaction?
Just respect, honestly. Respect for Bo. Yeah.
It is so
okay. Now we get Hera. Okay, Hera. I think what he's going to ask Hera is about her son, Jason Segula. Darth Scipio says, too many strong female leads in Filoni's Ahsoka. Typical Dave. But they're good characters, Darth Scipio. They're good characters, though. I don't care. Bring them all on. I mean, there was also Ezra, and what was the other Jedi's name? But there's Zeb, and then there was also the Clone Wars Rex. There was male characters in Rebels.
Cool to see you as Hera in the images we saw in the trailer for Ahsoka. I want to hear from you when your version of Hera, when we meet her, where do we find this character in Ahsoka?
Where's Hera going to be, and where is your son?
Okay.
Well, when we find her, she is a general. She has
General Hera.
become somewhat of a legend, I guess, just from all the work that she has done, fighting on behalf of the rebellion. And she's still, the maternal figure that she always has been.
Maternal. Jason Segula confirmed. We're going to see some of that. I'm very interested to see how her son is, because I wasn't 100% sold on his portrayal at the end of Rebels. I think the idea of his character is better than the execution. I'm just okay. I hope they make him cooler than he was portrayed. He was young, just like Ahsoka when she first was in the Clone Wars. People didn't like her at first. I'm hoping Jason, her son, becomes really cool character.
think she's carrying the weight of her past and things that we've seen.
Oh, that means her son. That means her son. and the loss of her love.
Go through in Rebels, and so she's affected by that in various
Yeah,
ways.
and maybe he could turn evil too. Not Obi-Wan's baby mama. No. That's what's Rebels characters? Hold on, I forget his name. Star Wars. Kanan Jarrus. Kanan Jarrus. You know, and what let me see. Show more. And I can't research them all. I have to rewatch it. There's Captain Rex, Zeb, Ezra, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Kanan Jarrus. There's enough male characters there, you know.
But she's still the kind of strong, badass mother figure that people came to love. I think
She's a mother figure, and she's an actual mother. Hera's son. What's it? Hera Rebels. Jason Sandola. Yeah. And where has he been? And I didn't really like, let me see if I could. Yeah, I wasn't sold on Jason. I wasn't sold on Jason Sandola. Oh, you mean they are actually? I didn't realize. Oh, Dark Omancer. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Okay, so that's really confusing.
And in animation, I mean, she's built a family, and that had led to loss. And I love to hear about what of that family gets to come with her. Are we gonna like see Jason? Or
Here we go. We're gonna see Jason. Are we gonna see Jason? That's what everyone. Yeah, we're gonna see him. I think he's gonna turn bad.
Gonna see anything like that?
I think he's gonna. The reason I think he's gonna Jason Sandola is gonna turn bad is because, just like Anakin. Well, Anakin's kids were good though, but you're not supposed to have attachments, so I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if he turned bad at least.
Can you say anything to that regard?
I know I don't think I'm allowed to.
No, that mean you know.
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to.
I don't want to get you in any trouble
on that one. Yeah,
that's fair. Becoming Hera, I mean, I imagine that requires hours in prep each day to look like Hera. So this is a two-part question. One, once you see yourself and you know that everybody sees you as Hera, what does that do for you and your performance? And two, what is the most important part of that design in your opinion?
Gosh, it was really transformative. I think the first day that we did it, I was pretty blown away, particularly once we put the contacts in. That's when
I want to see
like
Ray.
I wasn't myself anymore. I was someone completely different. I was something completely different. And I'd never experienced that before to that level. So that was just something so new to me, to try and bring myself to a role in which I am so not myself, was really a fun challenge and kind of liberating in a way. It was great.
Ivana, welcome to.
I don't know. Here's going to get some villain characters. I really am intrigued about these because I don't know anything about these villain characters. Really, they just look cool in the trailer. Okay, here we go.
Star Wars Celebration and the Star Wars universe. You're playing Shin in Ahsoka.
Shin. Okay.
Introduced as a villain at the panel. Nobody sees themselves as a villain, though. So give me your perspective on Shin, please.
It's very interesting that you say that nobody sees themselves as a villain. And I think it's a big part of understanding her being and also understanding the reason behind that darkness within somebody. Dave, I think, has done such a brilliant job.
I like the look of the new villains. Shin Sith. I like the look of the new villains. I think they seem intimidating. Okay.
In this series, expanding our understanding of the spectrum and what comes between the light and the dark. but she's incredibly analytical, quite intense, and
Intense. All right.
yeah, she's incredibly skilled in the lightsaber combat. But
Great lightsaber fights. Let me see. Is she the one with the Skyrim Nightingale arm? I think so, yeah. Because that did look dope AF. Listen, you're gonna have Thrawn, but you're gonna need to someone go toe to toe with Ahsoka, and she's gonna have two villains besides Thrawn to do some lightsaber battles with. So,
at the same time, throughout the journey,
and a proficient pilot.
We slowly begin to see her recreate her history in order to make for a better future. So, and that is part of that spectrum. I can't say anything more, Dave.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Just cutting it this close. Cutting it this
I'm
close.
really just really cool.
She has to be vague. She has to be vague. There's not. They need lightsaber fights in Star Wars. Well, there's going to be two. It's going to be her character, and it's going to be Ray, whatever his name's character, which is coming up next. Brucifer says, "Love strong female leads better than insecure men judging women in movies." I think were you talking about my guest last night, Brucifer? Yeah, after Andor, there's gonna be some dope fights. Who's the G.I. Joe Red Saber guy in the trailer? I think he's gonna be interviewed next.
Line is becoming really thin.
You said so much, and I don't think you're going to get in trouble, I hope. But you mentioned the lightsaber skill. I mean, I'm sure everybody's asking this, but I imagine holding a lightsaber, because I can go to Disney World and get a plastic one for like $20 or order one for like $300.
No, you can't. You can't get a plastic lightsaber for $20. I like how they're giving these new Star Wars actors character details, personalities, and histories to invest their performances in. Nice change of pace from those movies. Yeah. The actor was in G.I. Joe. He was Firefly. Okay.
It's got a little weight to it, but you guys are using the real thing. What is that like? What is it? Do they like when you're holding it? How heavy is it? Is it light up? Like, talk to me about learning how to use that thing and the feeling of holding a real, actual lightsaber.
Yeah, it's craftsmanship. You know, like everything else with our costume department and hair and makeup. There's a story to every object on set, but it's incredible. It's heavy. It's not easy to fight with it.
Yeah.
There's been a few people that have said that it's not easy to fight when it's heavy.
Once you allow the flow of it all to lead you, you sort of forget about the heaviness of it all and the hardship of training. But it's very special. It is, I think, what you imagine it to be.
I feel like you have to kind of develop your own relationship with it as the character too.
Yeah. It's part of the character because, that red light is part of that darkness within the Force, and it comes from within.
How you feeling after?
Oh, here we go. I got to mark this one. This is one of my, besides Thrawn, I'm very intrigued for this character. And I forget the guy's. Ray. Oh, hold on. I messed up my audio. I forget the actor's name.
Seeing all that stuff on the big screen up there.
Ray Stevenson, Balin. Ray Stevenson, Balin is going to be an awesome addition. Their lightsabers look orange, not red. I should start wearing a scarf like that? Maybe. Okay.
Knocked out and overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. I mean, it's just, when you're making this show, you think, God, this feels epic. Then you see it, they go like, epic's not big enough. It's just amazing. And seeing that trailer, I saw it the first time yesterday, not the new one. Yeah, the special one for the fans.
Oh, I want to see the special one. Wear gaudy rings, Max. The internet will thank you. Maybe. Dennis D. You mean me? I'm a pimp? Or Ray Stevenson? I need a Jedi robe. I got my, yeah.
fans here today, and I bless them for doing that, because obviously we're held back, and they're holding stuff back because they know the investment made by the fans, not just all the time, but the ones who make it here, they want something big to give them, and they did. And
what the look at Lars Mikkelsen in the corner there. That's like he gives a creepy look there, doesn't he? The scarf would make you pimp with one piece 4-finger ring. Let's do fun me. Look at Lars in that. That's really creepy. That's freaking me out.
And the response.
Look at that. He's still looking there.
Well, you know, right? It's just,
They didn't just end the panel. They put an exclamation point on the end there. Yeah.
Boom.
There it is.
Yeah.
When they introduced you, they said, we're going to introduce some villains. And they said, Balin, your character, is a villain. No character sees themselves as a villain. So in your perspective, who is Balin?
I want to know this. Yeah.
Balin has a mission. Balin has a quest. And basically, if you're in his way, he'll respectfully ask you to get out of it. If you don't,
I'll respect you. Get out of my way. If not, I'm taking you out. I like the way he answers this.
you will be swept aside because there's something far greater than him. And in the Star Wars world, imagine him like a catalyst you throw in to two elements, and all of a sudden there's a reaction. So that catalyst threads, and you go like, well, who is it? What is he? Even I don't know fully yet, right?
Okay. All right. I'm really looking forward to Balin.
But there's a voyage of discovery with this character and Shin.
I can't wait.
Balin and Shin. Balin and Shin. Like Thanos. Yeah. You know, people, I actually think that Balin may be the standout. They might even like him more than Thrawn. Who knows? Lars has the Rutger Hauer Roy Batty look. Okay.
To see it. Now you talk about people getting swept away. Literally, that happens in the trailer. I see you put that hand up on almost on some Darth Vader stuff, and people are flying away. When you're on set, how powerful does that make you feel? I mean, I'm assuming you put your hand up, somebody's really getting pulled away on a rope or something. How does that all come together when you use the Force on set?
Well, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work beforehand, but there comes that moment when you raise them up and they're gone. And it's, seriously, you come away pinching stuff like, I'm actually in this now. You know what I mean? It becomes hyper real to you. You're not just like dressed this way, speaking this way, boom. And then the fights that get worked out and you go like, oh my word, this is real. This is real.
I can't wait to see that fight between him and Ahsoka. This man's a force of nature. I've liked him since Rome. I didn't see Rome. He was great in that. You pray to baby Jesus that the show telling will be great. Rome was great. Whoa, Lions. Just calm down. I'm going to put you... Hold on, man. You got to chill out. Okay. Yeah, it's great casting. Energetic, charismatic. He seems to love it. Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Let's go. I didn't watch Season 1 yet. I got to watch it.
This is just to chew it up. And then you see the response today. I was saying to Lars, I said, this is bigger than both of us. Of course it is. It's for them. It's for the fans. It's for all the fans. And it keeps you humble and keeps you wanting to work as hard as you can. And everybody works as hard as they can. From the writers, from the top, it all filters down from the top. There's a humility of greatness that you can't wait to get into work the next day and beast it to give it.
And it seems like, Dave is just...
He has given one of the better interviews. Tales of the Jedi is a short, easy watch. Yeah. He's given one of the best interviews so far.
the leader of the ship here, and he is such a genius with Star Wars knowledge and the history of it. What was it? Can you talk about what it was like to get scripts from Dave, so to learn your character through somebody who's so embedded in this franchise?
Absolutely. And the thing about Dave that most people probably don't realize, apart from with that overwhelming talent and skill and command of it, is his insane ability to collaborate and give you the freedom to have your ideas brought on board and ask the questions, and then if it's a good, that's great, let's throw that in, let's do this, and that means even from the costume ideas to fighting to this to certain lines, and so, nothing's fixed in stone. He creates a river that flows, and he's also free enough to see where that will go. And for an actor, it's just like you imagine coming into something that's going to be just rigid. This is how it works. This is what we want. But it's not like that at all. So you actually really do feel.
I like that he's suggesting that they let them, add to the character, interpret, use their creative juices for it. Ray looks dope in his costume in that trailer. Love his orange saber. Yeah.
That you are part of a family that you are brought into this amazing family. Everybody works together.
Diana, welcome to Star Wars.
Oh, this is the last one that I really don't know anything. I guess she's villain 4. There's a lot of villains in here. There's Thrawn, there's Balin, there's Shin, and then her character. I think this is the last interview. I really don't know any. I mean, there wasn't much about her in the trailer.
Celebration. This is your first time here. What's the experience been like so far?
It's absolutely
Diane Lee Inosanto, Morgan Elsbeth.
Incredible and surreal, and it's personal for me to be able to connect with the fans, because
Oh, wait a second. Darcipio, have you heard the producer of Mando has said that Mando is no longer the star of The Mandalorian? No, if you have the receipt of that, I will cover it. But I haven't heard that. No, I don't know where that was said. Do you have a clip of that? Where was that said at? Maybe 1 or 2 of the villains are only for an episode. I hope not. That's an issue with MCU and Star Wars. They get rid of villains too quickly. If you get a good villain, keep them in there for a while.
my episode came out, like for instance in Mandalorian, I was at home when the episode, came up on TV, and to see the fans and their reaction, it made me feel really connected to a much bigger audience and world. And now to experience this energy live, it's magical. It really is.
I love being in that room with everybody. We all have something in common, right?
This is the debate, Cyrus, that's happening right now. It's called The Mandalorian. It doesn't necessarily have to mean Din Djarin. But I will argue that it was sold to the consumer on the premise that it was Din Djarin's story, not just any Mandalorian. But yes, the title could adapt to any Mandalorian, really. The Mandalorian doesn't necessarily mean just Din Djarin. It could then become the Bo-Katan show, and it could still be called The Mandalorian. But I don't think that happened organically. I think it happened because of circumstances behind the scenes. And the way Bo-Katan's character arc is, she walks both ways so she could take her helmet off, and then they could have the star of the show promoting the show. Where Pedro Pascal, I don't think Pedro Pascal was at Celebration. Was he? Was Pedro Pascal at Celebration? Well, there's rumors, Cyrus, that he wasn't happy with some of the creative differences, and the way that this is the way IGN article. All right. And anyone let me know if they heard if Pedro is at the event. I doubt it. Let me see. I don't see the. I'm trying to find the IGN article where they say that. I don't see it. I'll have to find it later, I guess. Okay. Let's finish this up here.
Out of the gate. The last time we saw Morgan, a little bit of a fight. Didn't really. I'm not gonna say you lost, but it didn't go your way. I'll just.
And I held my own for a while.
It was a good fight. It was a great fight, even.
My own for a while. Ahsoka. Yeah.
But I'll tell you.
Oh, she's the one that fought Ahsoka in. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me bring that up here. All right. And I could send you a link too, Voltaire, if you want to hop in. I'm only going to be live for like 10, 15 more minutes. I got some errands to run. All right, let me see. Oh, yeah, that is significant. That is significant. We have to cover that. All right.
Being on your side of a fight, I feel like if you're a person who holds a grudge, there might be some things on your mind going forward. Maybe a rematch or something. When we see Morgan again, what was it like to step back into the shoes? Where is she? Where's Morgan Elsbeth when we see her in Ahsoka?
Well, I will tell you this because I don't want to spoil it for people, but definitely she's got issues. She's still cold-hearted.
Yeah.
But she's absolutely still very loyal to Thrawn. That's not going to
loyal to Thrawn.
Stop. She's extremely dedicated to him. And I also think audiences are going to be surprised because they're going to be able to explore. They're going to see.
Well, I'll keep that up for the article, Cyrus. That's a significant development. Okay.
That we're going to explore her.
Oh, wait. Voltaire's here. Thank you for joining me on short notice, Voltaire.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, no, that is significant. I know fans, and not like my pal Brucifer, which I respect your opinion, Brucifer, but I think it's completely fair to be critical because it was, the show was sold as the origins of this specific Mandalorian. I know you could play semantic games like, well, it's Mandalorian. It's not called the Din Djarin show. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't actually say, I'm going to say this. You can't say fans are toxic for saying that they're upset that the character that was introduced at the beginning of the series, it goes to someone else, you know?
It was definitely a change on purpose. I mean, I get Brucifer's point too, but this was definitely a change of course. There's no question about it.
And and as far as I could tell, Pedro Pascal was not present at Star Wars Celebration, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know the behind the scenes stuff, but if the stories are true that he's a complainer and difficult, does it really surprise you that they start to kind of move it away from him?
Well, I don't even consider him difficult. I just understand there's really nothing for him to do on the show. Even through the voice modulator with his mask, there's not much of him to flex his acting ability. Now that he's gone back to the living waters and this is the way.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seems very credible that he took his helmet off. That was the rumors that he kind of wanted to, and then in this season they're like, no, you're going to get rebaptized in the living waters, and then you're going to have the helmet on all the time again.
Yeah, I don't care for his complaints about it. He took the role. You know what I mean? Nobody was asking for him before this.
I will tell you this. When I started doing live streams, I thought I was going to wear masks and helmets all the time. I have a big collection. And then I started doing it, and it's really hurts your entertaining abilities. It's really hard to perform in a helmet all the time.
Yeah.
It really
Seven-figure paycheck makes it a little bit easier though, right?
Yeah, but I can understand. Like
yeah.
That's why, like in Book of Boba Fett, he took the helmet off. That's why in Halo, Master Chief has the helmet off a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and I agree. Look, if he wants to expand his acting roles and that kind of thing, I mean, look, he's what he's doing now. I mean, I get it. He doesn't want to do it as much anymore. But I've said in your chat before, I think that the compromise was you don't have to show up on set. It's basically voiceover work.
Here's my biggest clue is that Pedro Pascal's on his way out.
I agree.
The going to the living waters to go back into the way, and then having Bo-Katan take her helmet off and saying she could do either. That is the biggest clue as to the future of his character, because he has to keep it on now and she doesn't.
And he gave up the Darksaber like it was nothing. He has no interest in all that kind of thing. So this is the way they've written it. So
yeah. So I listen, either way, Brucifer, I'm okay with it. I understand. I really think Pedro Pascal is going to be very limited. They maybe made a new contract. You just do the voiceover. We'll do all that. You just say these few lines. You know how few lines he has?
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce, as far as expanding the story, I get it. And they are, but don't you think that when they started this thing out that he was they were gearing it towards him being the uniter of the Mandalorians, right? That's the way it looked, at least. Right. And that's completely gone, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's, Bo-Katan. If you were going to pick one, if you could only pick one, who was the biggest character arc in this season?
Oh, it's Bo-Katan.
Yeah,
no question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't even see that mythosaur down there. She's like, "Hey, did you see anything down?" He's like, "No, I didn't see anything." So it was pretty obvious. It's her arc.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear what the rest she has to say, and then we'll look at the article.
Background more, and that's really cool. That's really exciting because a lot of people are like, "Who is she? Where does she come from?" And so,
actually, no offense, she seems like a nice lady, but I'm not really interested in her character much. So, no offense. I want to get to the article. That was the last interview. All right, let's bring up the IGN article. No, and I have things to do.
No, you got the most important.
All right. So, Mandalorian producer confirms Din Djarin is no longer the only main character. We're all the Mandalorian. I think this is it's all subjective, but I think this is spin and damage control after things that have happened behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And they I would think a writer's brain would like, well, how can we spin this towards the positive? Well, we're all the man. This seems very marketing. It just feels like it. Oh, this went through the marketing. This is the narrative that we're going to put out there, right? Doesn't it feel like that to you?
100%. And look, they're acknowledging no longer the only main character.
Yeah. So they have options, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have options. No, there's nothing wrong with it, Brucifer. I think you might be misinterpreting our take, me and Voltaire, and I don't have it. I love Bo-Katan. She's kicking ass this season, right?
Yeah,
I love her arc, but it doesn't seem, in my opinion, like that was the original plan. If they can make it work, they can make it work. I'm not going to stop watching.
You know what? If he's being difficult, what do you want them to do? I think they handled it as best they could, quite honestly.
Yeah. And Katie Sackhoff is a team player. She's not worried about. As a fan of Katie Sackhoff for so many years, I watched her in Battlestar Galactica. I watched her Pitch Black. I watched her she was in a show called Longmire. She is a team player. She's going to do whatever. I mean, there were some lines that she delivered with a straight face in this last episode that were freaking cringe. She is going to do it. She's going to because she's a team player. Pedro Pascal is in a different league, and she is going to be front and center at every event that you want, Katie Sackhoff, because she is in nerd culture. She is ingrained in nerd culture, and it could be a benefit to focus on her, really, because she's not going to be, as far as I know, she's not going to have a major HBO Max series or thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And she's well cast and she's doing good. And I didn't watch her on Battlestar Galactica, but when I saw Bo-Katan and live action, I said, "Oh wow, she's perfect."
Well, Scipio, but what if they didn't have a choice? Pedro Pascal's like, I really want to limit my availability on what you're doing here. I'm not, he's under contract. They're kind of phase him out. At one point you might, what? Who the hell knows if Pedro Pascal is even doing the voiceover anymore now that Seriously, do you even need him anymore?
No, but
You
look,
don't even need him anymore.
yeah, and Darth Sidious, I'm not. I far be it from me to be a Disney Star Wars apologist. I'm not, but I think this was more Pedro's doing than Disney's doing.
Yeah,
It's what they had to do.
he got other opportunities, and probably they didn't when they signed him up. I'm assuming it was probably for a certain type of contract. They probably have to renew it. He might not want to renew it, just
Yeah.
like Henry Cavill didn't want to renew it after 3 seasons of The Witcher. 3
Right.
seasons of The Mandalorian, they would have had to renegotiate. They weren't going to sign him for 5 seasons right off the bat. They
No.
didn't know Mandalorian was going to take off.
And Cavill's a good example. I think Cavill wanted to do it under certain circumstances with certain levels of control.
Right.
And
So
that's
this is probably similar to the Cavill situation, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you could have done a replacement like they did with The Witcher, or because it's a helmet. There's lots of things. Pedro. They could probably make an agreement with him to just use Chat GPT, and not even you would never even know because it's done through a filter, and he talks so slow and stoic. He doesn't have a lot of expression in his voice on the show. You don't need it. Okay,
Well, he doesn't in general. I mean, he did in Game of Thrones, but in Last of Us, he doesn't have a lot of expression either, does he?
No, I mean he's a great actor, but he's not got all. He doesn't do a lot of emoting through his voice. Yeah. Okay, but this is going to be a significant development for critics. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay. The Mandalorian began as a show about Din Djarin and Grogu. Let me see. Executive producer Rick Famuyiwa has addressed those questions in an interview with IGN, and yes, the fans are right to question it. Turns out the titular Mandalorian is no longer considered to be just Din. I think that's been interesting as we've been on the journey of the show, and now we're at this point, is that what does the title mean? Famuyiwa told IGN. And he's taken over as the Famuyiwa. I saw another interview with him. He's kind of taken over this season, more so since Filoni was working on Ahsoka at the time, right? I mean, there's still involvement, but Famuyiwa is really taking up a lot. I think now that Bo possessing the Darksaber, I knew that there's a lot of expectations that might have shifted in both in terms of what does that mean for Din Djarin, but also for Bo. What does it mean, he continued? Who is the Mandalorian at this point? And I think this has gone through a filter of marketing.
Heck yeah.
This is
written by the PR department.
Yeah. And so I think it could be anyone. If they're saying this, get ready for it. And I think that's what we're trying to define in many ways, is what does that mean to be Mandalorian? I think they're going out of their way to explain it away. As mentioned by Famuyiwa, the latest episode of The Mandalorian saw Din literally step to one side and literally pass the mantle to Bo-Katan as she took the Darksaber and stood ready to unite the Mandalorian people. We gave the episode a 6 out of 10 in our review, saying things get very silly in episode 6 of season 3. The Mandalorian as Bo-Katan and Din play good cop, bad cop on the planet ruled by Jack Black and Lizzo. Never thought I would read that. Jack Black and Lizzo. But yes, that is the part of the episode that I really didn't like, is that we knew that Bo-Katan was going to get the Darksaber, right? In this season, but I thought it was going to be something more epic than, you only deserve this already? Here you go. And step aside. It was a literal step aside moment beyond the silliness of the actual episode. It was literally, even IGN is saying it was a literally step aside moment, right?
I feel like they could have written that better. I get what they were doing there, but you're right.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but it wasn't epic. The Darksaber, season 2 when they were fighting with the Darksaber, that was epic, right?
Yeah.
So the scenes where she was fighting with the Darksaber to save Din was cool. And if they were going to do that, then he should have said, you keep it, you earned it,
100%.
In my opinion, that would have landed better than in retrospect. Well, and then they're like, this is the way. Did they even say that? I don't know. I don't know. They're like, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. And why it's an interesting choice because after she saves him and he says, "You saved my life. I'm indebted to you forever." They could have thrown in a nice line there saying, "And this, you deserve this more than me. You just saved me." Blah blah blah. You know, and it would have actually made her arc a little better, I think, if he had gone back to the Zealot Mandalorians with that idea in tow. But whatever, we don't write the show.
Yeah. So listen, everyone. If you're happy, more power to you. But we gotta be fair to critics. There's people that signed up wanting Din Djarin's arc, and it does seem like that has been sidestepped. There's 2 episodes left. Katie Sackhoff was on an interview saying, "I can't believe how much we filmed that there's only 2 episodes left. That means that the last 2 episodes most likely will be significant, you know." But I'm okay with the Bo-Katan Mandalorian show. I am. Me personally.
Yeah.
But Voltaire, you have some criticism of that for sure.
Only because Pedro is being a problem, I forgive it. I sincerely believe this is Pedro's doing. They didn't. This wasn't their plan, and this is a good secondary plan, in my opinion. So, what are they going to do? You know,
it's almost gives me that like anticlimactic when you hand the lightsaber to Luke. I'm like, I want these to be really like. Remember Last Jedi, where it's like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, these are epic things in this universe. These sabers, you know, and nothing should be more epic than even Luke's saber. The dark saber is like so significant, and then just say, okay, you kind of earned it. I thought that was kind of a letdown to me.
Right.
It was totally epic. The way he reached over and handed her the dark saber was riveting. Then he stepped away, and I was like, whoa, just amazing. I also fainted. I had to go lie down. I thought it was a great scene. Yeah, Mass Vigilante Rey is coming back.
100%.
Oh, here we go, Dark Omancer. I signed up for the Mandalorian, not the woman Lorian. Oh, God. That I heard them saying that. I saw an erotic video. Oh, boy.
They need content, you know, so... It's interesting, though. They haven't announced anything for Favreau at this thing, right?
No. I noticed that too, Voltaire. Where is the Favreau announcements? What's he's doing?
They didn't announce another season of The Mandalorian or a new show called The Mandalorians.
Yeah.
He's not directing one of these films, you know? So what are we doing here?
Can I be real?
Yeah.
I kind of think he's doing Kathy's job somewhat.
Behind
the scenes.
Oh boy.
Is that bad to say?
No, it makes sense with how he was there, and he seems very enthusiastic when he's
Favreau is kind of like doing what Kathy should be doing.
Oh boy. That's you're getting into Doomcock territory.
No, I mean I think Iger put him there. I know everyone's gonna say Kathy deserves it. I think Iger called his boy. He helped him out with the first Iron Man. He helped him out with actually, did they make that before? I don't know. They helped him out with the Lion King and the Jungle Book. He's done a lot of things for Disney. And he's kind of like he's there all the time. He's kind of like to an equivalent, he's kind of like the James Gunn and Peter Safran. Like Peter Safran's there, you know, but James Gunn's making talking. He has great relations with all the talent. I think Favreau is kind of doing the Kathy job. That's my opinion.
Fascinating. Or like a co-chair type of thing is what you're saying unofficially.
Such a cringe take.
I think he's talking about the Womalorian.
Oh. Who's Kathy Kennedy? President Lucasfilm. Well, thank you, Voltaire. I gotta go because I have some errands to run. It's 3:00.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, everyone. I'll be streaming again later. Some great news. Official Thrawn. Some cast interviews. So I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.